Hello people of YouTube, and welcome back to Dark Souls 3. Where we last left off, we were trying to finish up the High Wall of Lothric, and we were almost done with it. And in this episode, we will hopefully finish the High Wall of Lothric and make our way down to the undead settlement below. Let's see. Always waste my stamina like that, and then I get hit. So we died last time on our way trying to come down here. Oh crap, we actually don't have any embers. Oh, we did. Shoot. Well, guess we'll just do this the old-fashioned way. I mean, I can go get some embers. I know where to find some, but I don't really want to risk going and getting them. At least not at this point. Gosh darn it. I don't have a large amount of healing here. So, got our souls back. No Lothric Knight killing us. And we will jump down here. Now this is actually a really safe and quicker way to get down here to where the boss fight's at without having to deal with the freaking Lothric Knights. So we're going into this boss fight with only 2 Estus. No NPC summons or anything, so let's hope for the best. And there are 2 NPC summons you can get here. It's time to say hello. Say hello to the watchdog of Lothric Castle, Vort of the Boreal Valley. Ow. Hey, stage 2 has begun. I have to try to dodge his attacks. I believe there's frost breath all over the place. And this point that Vort will actually start getting a pain in the butt. Ow. Who can really kill you? Gosh fucking darn it! This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna have to go get an ember, aren't I? There are 2 different NPC summons you can get for this fight that will make Vort a bit easier to deal with. I mean, we almost had Vort killed there anyway, but more bolts, nice. I did mention in the last video that I always recommend that players have some sort of ranged weapon to use for drawing enemies away from a crowd. And one thing I did not mention though is the fact that there are ranged weapons that you can use that require different stats. As far as ranged weapons go, they're all different forms of technically different forms of bows. You have the crossbows that are primarily strength weapons. Then you have normal bows that are dexterity. And then in the end, there are near the later half of the game, there are great bows, which are both a mix of strength and dexterity, if I recall correctly. They use a decent amount of both for them. And these strength and dexterity weapons, the great bows are probably one of the stronger bows out there, but they are also a bit harder to use. Not by much, mind you, but a bit. And you know what? Let's actually attempt to kill the Winged Knight. And I said in the last video that I don't recommend most players fighting him because his attacks will do a lot of damage to you. Will wipe out most players who don't know how to dodge the attacks. If you know how to dodge him, what? Hold on, what? I've never gotten this thing to drop before. Or at the very least, never this early in the game. No, wait, no, I've never gotten it before. Holy crap. Why does that always happen? I just try to show off something real quick that, okay, you can fight him here if you want. You know, he's a bit tougher to fight, but you can still fight him here. And I intend just to show that he is killable at this early stage in the game, and in the end, I kill him and get his rare drop. Like, what in the world? That was a nice way to liven up this episode, though. That's for damn sure. Or, let's try again, shall we? Going close. Swing your crotch for a little bit. I mean, I know that sounds weird. I was saying my character's swinging at his crotch, but hey, the truth is the truth. We are swinging at his crotch and his ass. Let Vort scream. I'll get my stuff. This part of the Vort fight can really do a lot of damage to you if you are not careful. Two-handed sword and just like whack him in the ass a bunch of times. Typically dealing with Vort works like you would expect most large foes to work for about half the fight. He's usually fairly slow, and getting behind him is usually one of the better ways of dealing with him. I mean, it's not the only way to deal with him, but it is usually the easier way, and hey, we killed him. That's fun. Now, I did not really explain why we killed the lady in the castle before, though. And I will explain that here in just a moment. Now, if we come out here, and we overlook this entire area, you can see most of the locations, if not every location in the game, from right here. Most locations you'll get to go to are located out in this area. Right there in front of us, where's that crossbow? Right there in front of us is the Undead Settlement. Through the Undead Settlement, we'll head into this forested area here, which is the Road of Sacrifice. Down here is Farron Keep. Over there is the Cathedral of the Deep. Off over there is the Boreal Valley as well as Irithyll. If I remember correctly, below that building there is the Karthus Catacombs. Way off over there is the Dragon Shrine. Way off in the distance. Almost every location in the game can be found and seen from this spot here. And we needed to kill the lady, which you could have just talked to her and she would have given it to you. But there's a banner that you need in order to trigger this scene, in order to move on to the Undead Settlement. Without the banner, you cannot move forward. But like I said, it's faster to deal with her if you just kind of kill her. It also means that if you kill her and you choose to decide to head to the late game areas sooner in the game, you can actually just skip on straight into Lothric Castle if you want. It's a fairly nice trick to know in case you ever want to try to skip ahead and fight enemies that give you a much larger amount of souls than you would normally get at this point. But you'd have to get really lucky to kill the Dancer of the Boreal Valley, which is the boss found in that room. Now we are going to run ahead up here because there are a couple things I want to take care of before we head back to Firelink Shrine. Primarily, I want to kill these guys, get these alluring skulls, and we want to come over here and talk to one of these guys.
Please, grant.
Most of them are dead. This is the only one left alive. Basically, he just asks you to if he can serve you because of the fact that he's the only one left alive and everyone else died, and yeah. He basically is kind of wanting to know why he didn't die. But he ends up choosing to decide that since he's alive, he's going to serve the Unkindled Ash. So, we got ourselves a servant. He is another merchant and is actually a character whose very existence is designed mainly for one of the many different ending paths we can take. There are 3 primary endings to the game. I killed him in the door. And that character that we just got is Yoel of Londor, I believe, is his name. And he is a key part. He's basically the start of one of these. He is the start of the story that leads into one of the 3 endings. And therefore, getting him is required if you want to get that ending. You can also use him to get like 5 free levels at the cost of going hollow. But if you're someone who doesn't mind going hollow or is willing to pay later on to reverse your hollowing, then the free levels are quite nice. Oh, I can't actually show it, but basically, in the area we're in now, there is a boss we can fight. It's completely optional, and it'll give us an item called the Transposing Kiln. Now, if we give the Transposing Kiln to Ledlith up there, he can use it to turn boss souls into weapons or items, such as the soul we have here of Vort of the Boreal Valley. Using this, we can either get a ring, which for this character is not going to be super useful, or we could get a Great Hammer, which again, probably not going to be too useful for this character. It's a frost-based Great Hammer. Since I do not wish to get either items as a soul, I'm going to go ahead and use it for a few extra souls. 2,000 souls is a pretty nice thing to get, as we can now gain more levels from this lady here. Oh, we don't really need to increase vitality at this point.
Farewell, Ashen Maid.
We can actually get 400 more souls if we come over here and we sell some stuff. If I can figure out what to sell though. Is there anything really worth selling to get the levels? Hey, you know what? Screw it. We won't actually sell anything for the levels. But we can come down here and talk to Greirat real quick, who you can purchase some stuff from if you have the souls to do so. At this point, I could use a little bit of better armor. So I'm actually going to buy a couple of pieces of armor. They are not going to be entirely better, as their elemental resistances will be weaker. And they will also be heavier armor. But at the same time, like I said before in the last episode, there's not that many enemies that really do too much elemental damage. So if we need elemental resistances, we can put on the other armor set. But at this point, it's better to keep a melee armor set, as that will help you survive a bit longer It won't do too much for absorbing some damage, but it will help at least a little bit in the early game. And it's always good to have that little bit of advantage in the early game. So, and like I said, we could get 5 free levels out of YOLO right now. But I'd rather not do that at the moment. Mainly because I don't want to get too over leveled, but there's also someone I want to get to. Now, the Undead Settlement is an interesting place. There is a large number of NPC characters that we can run into in this area. And they are scattered all throughout the area. They aren't even remotely near each other for the most part. And what all this means is, these characters can be found, they can be brought together, and upon being brought together, can get you some useful stuff. Now, repair power is nice. We have some stuff to get, some NPCs to run into and everything. But first things first. Oh man, it doesn't explode as far. I wonder if I can actually like angle it just right. Oh, I didn't hit one of the barrels I needed to hit. Hit the barrels. There we go. Yeah, free aiming the magic in this game is a bit tricky. But once you've gotten the hang of it, it can work pretty well. Do note that I am not a good example of this. As I say when I get it done perfectly. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But we want to take care of these guys, as there is a huge crowd here. And you can see the big lady sitting there, crouched by the tree already. And she is a pain in the butt. But she's also guarding something very helpful. So taking her down sooner rather than later is always a good idea. You will want to be careful of that spell. That spell is a miracle that can cause bleeding. And when I say can cause bleeding, I mean at low levels it will cause bleeding. Almost guaranteed. So, now we have the big problem out of the way, as she is probably the toughest enemy in the area. We can go and acquire the Estus shard she was guarding, as well as finish off these people who are praying to the tree with her. These guys are dropping a lot of stuff. A lot more stuff than I thought they would drop. So, okay, so we need to wipe you out. And there are a lot of side paths. Now, when I mention that this place is full of characters, I mean it literally is. Throughout the entire area, this is where you will find 90% of your optional merchants. I think there's only 1 or 2 optional merchants that are not found in this area. I believe the Miracle teacher and one of the Pyromancy teachers is not found in this area. Other than that, all the others are. Well, aside from Grey Rat as well, I kind of forgot about him. But most of them can be found in this area. Which is what makes running through this place fairly useful. Now, I still don't know what kind of build I'm going for with this character, as I can always get some items, most likely off screen, that I can use to acquire a few levels. Or not levels, but can reset my levels is what I meant to say. If I actually need to. Now we're going to be running into this room, and then we're going to jump off this bridge. Jumping off this bridge is the only way to get up to the top of this building, which is where I'm headed. There's also a bonfire to be found down here, once lit. It is a very, very helpful bonfire in all honesty. Now, we will come up here, and I will... oh crap, I put the crossbow away. Okay. Load the crossbow and we will shoot down that body. That body holds the partisan. It's not a bad spear, to say the least. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty decent weapon. Especially for early game, being how long it is. Not only that, but its light attack will thrust, while its strong attack will swing. So you can adapt for your environment, whether you're in a close space or a wide open space. However, I'm not the biggest fan of the spears in this game. Well, that's a lie. I actually really do like them. And here we go. Cornyx of the Great Swamp is the character I came here to acquire. And the only reason I came here to acquire Cornyx is for one simple reason. Cornyx is our first pyromancy merchant and our primary pyromancy merchant. He will teach us 90% of the pyromancies we can earn in this game. There's a handful of the ones that he will not teach. And that's where the second pyromancy feature comes into play. But Cornyx is just too important not to grab at this early stage of the game. Especially when you're playing a pyromancy character. Now we will set this guy ablaze, and upon killing him we will get the Fire Clutch Ring. Now the Fire Clutch Ring is an interesting ring. It's a risk versus reward ring. It will increase your fire attack damage, so you do more damage with fire. However, upon equipping it, your defenses greatly decrease, simply from the act of wearing the ring. So if you're someone who does not want your defenses to decrease, I would not recommend wearing the ring. However, if you're confident in your abilities to dodge, wearing the ring can allow you to do a lot more fire damage, especially with pyromancies or any form of fire weapon. Now, we are coming up upon the end of this episode. As like I said last time, I'm trying to keep this around 25 minutes long, at the very most. And so what we will do, and I didn't mention it when I did it, so I probably should have, but I was focused on trying to kill the people around the tree, is you may have noticed we cut down a body earlier, way at the beginning of the area, and we acquired an item. Said item was Loretta's bone. This bone is the bone that belongs to the woman that Greirat wanted us to find. She's already dead.
Oh, hello, you're back, and in one piece. Heavens, she was already dead. Thank you. I'm not surprised, though. Almost a relief, really. You can keep the ring as, well, a little trinket of thanks, I suppose.
Greirat tries to be strong, but simply from talking to him, you can tell that he really is hurting over the loss of Loretta.
Goodbye, Mother.
But that being said, on the opposite side, we have the existence of Cornyx now. And he's willing to teach us pyromancies, where we can get a few new pyromancies that can actually be relatively helpful. The first one I'm going to grab is going to be Flame Surge. Simply because Flame Surge sounds useful, and we already have Fireball. We can also purchase the armor set that we already have from him. This is how you would get it outside of this. This is also where you will go to upgrade your Pyromancy Flame to make it stronger.
What is it?
Since I've already determined that we are going to do a Pyromancy build for this game, we are going to upgrade that right now. Now, at this point, we don't have much longer. Do I have a level? I do not have a level. Okay. So I guess this is as good as any place to stop. In the next episode, we will continue our journey through the undead settlement, and hopefully we'll run into a few more friendly faces. So until then, I hope to see you all in the next video. So long.